You want to tweet this out?
Do you have the link?
Yeah, I can tweet it out actually. Oh, it did have our logo before we ended up going live, and it does have our logo in the bottom corner.
In our video or on the bottom of the YouTube video?
So we are currently live, but yeah, in the bottom of the YouTube video. But I had to exit out just because, like I said, I put a 30-second delay on it. So sorry if you guys are actually listening to the YouTube video right now. We are not actually started yet, but we will get started, and we don't know how to edit that. Currently, we are tweeting that we are about to go live. And it's taking a second. Yeah, we definitely need to figure out how to do it more smoothly. Tweet is out. And are you ready to go now? This is when the podcast version of the thing will start.
Roll it.
Roll it, Mike says. Recording in progress. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin. Welcome into season 2, episode 38 of Banging on the Drum, our third live episode in a row. And Mike, we've been doing it for over a year consistently. So we're rolling them out.
You're in about a quarter for sure. So we started in November.
Yeah, we might have to do something
2021.
Special. We might have to do something special for the 100th episode. We got to be creeping up on it. I think we had 60 something in our
I think we're probably over it already.
Shoot. So we might have to preemptively, is that the word? We might have to go back.
Like pretend we're at 100 and do a 100th episode.
Or maybe we'll just celebrate the 105th or something like that. But I am your host, P Dog. Join along with M Dog, who you've already heard. Found out Mike doesn't really like barking, but I cue him to bark, so he barks. So good for you, Mike.
Yeah, so that's the deal. When we come on, we got to bark because we're dogs,
Yeah. So. And all of our segments are becoming more and more animal related. We'll be doing a couple things on the fly, but I'll just give them the flow of the episode. So, excuse me. We're going to start this one overs and unders. Then we are going to clean up our Bing Bong count over the Super Bowl, roll into some Daytona 500 stuff. That's the stuff we're going to be doing live. Anyways, long story short, Martin Truex Jr. is taking home the checkers, baby. Then we're going to bark about the Bucks. Then we're going to bark about the Badgers. I don't think we're going to meow about Marquette today. We got some hot in the streets, spicy pepperonis. And yeah, we're just freestyling from there.
Wait a minute. I think they're pepperonis, aren't they? Isn't it like a play on pepperoni?
Pepperoni. I mean, it would, either way there.
You don't call them pepperonis, do you? I mean, maybe you do.
Pepperonis?
Yeah, you're saying pepperonis, and they're pepperonis.
I like that better. That is a wiser play on the word. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's That's the way I've always assumed that they were, is that they were like, so pepperonis are probably like a relatively fake meat to begin with. Like it's got a bunch of fillers and like bullshit in it.
Oh, they're
And
fucking
then,
good though.
yeah, they're great. That's best topping on pizza. But spicy meatball right there, right? You
Ooh,
want to
it
some
is.
controversy. Pepperonis are the best topping for pizza.
I don't disagree with you on like an average everyday scale, but the absolute best topping on a pizza is a Rocky Rococo sausage.
Ugh, nope. Pass. I'll eat them, but like I don't need that at all. So
I could just eat a bucket of those. They look kind of gross, like when you get a scab on your knee and you like pick off the scab and then you eat it.
100. So like, they're better than like a regular sausage. Like sausage on a regular pizza is much worse than a Rocky sausage.
What's your perfect pizza?
Like so I mean, so I'm pretty simple, and I will. If you gave me any option, it might just be like a standard pepperoni pizza, not even like a pepperoni lovers or anything where it's all covered in pepperoni. Might just be just pepperonis. I do like green peppers on there on occasion, but I never eat that. The only thing that I would really kick off a pizza, I've never had like anchovies or something like that, but the only thing I have eaten on a pizza that I'm like, ugh, please take it off, is olives. And even those I'll eat. So
yeah, I'm not a pineapple fan. I don't get into the argument though. If you like pineapple on your pizza, good for you. But I've heard more and more people going with like the simplistic route. I hear people saying like they like cheese pizza the best or just like one topping. But I'm just meat lovers. That's it. Like if I'm testing out a place for the first time, I'm gonna test out their meat lovers.
I'll give you another quick like pizza hot take. I don't need bacon on any pizza I've ever eaten.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be hot. You're coming up with spicy meatballs. So Mike's first two spicy meatballs are
one is about a meatball too. Look at that.
Yeah. Pepperonis are the best topping on pizza. I don't think that's too spicy. I think that's
pretty standard.
That's pretty basic.
Probably like 50 or 51% of the population would agree.
So yeah, I'll give you 2 jalapenos.
Yeah.
And on the other one, what was the other one?
Bacon. You never need to put bacon on your pizza. Like it never needs to be there.
And I'll crack that up to 8 jalapenos.
Yeah, because there's definitely like a good 75% of the population that just is kind of like bacon needs to be on everything.
Yeah, and I'm in that camp. We've had I think we've had the conversation on the show before too, is how you define sweets. I'm so glad I was the person that helped you define what a sweet was. Was anything that you wouldn't put cheese on to make it better? I think bacon is pretty close to cheese when it comes to that. Like, I think almost everything that I enjoy eating becomes a step better with bacon on top of it. Try me out real quick. See if you can defeat me.
Okay, so like all your breakfast foods with bacon are going to be better.
Besides pancakes, like you can't just put a smush up, but that pancakes is sweet.
So, but like you could definitely put sausage, like in a pancake, like a corn dog with sausage and pancakes.
It's realistic. Like that's not my jam, but yeah. So that's
let's see. So we're looking at non-sweets, correct? That you couldn't put bacon on.
So I'll give you a couple examples. I think pizza is better with bacon on it. I think cheeseburgers are better with bacon on it. I think cheese, like if you just gave me a strip of cheese and you put bacon on top of it, it's better.
Yeah. So I can't think of anything. I don't have to have bacon on everything, right? So I don't know that it always like enhances a food. Pizza for me to be the example. but I don't hate it. Like I'll eat it. I might eat it over something that would have some other type of topping on it. I just don't need it on pizza. I get where you're at with bacon. Honestly, I can't think of something that I would be like, that's not a sweet, and bacon makes it worse. Chicken and bacon isn't usually like a thing, but I'm sure it'd be fine together.
Yeah, I think there's that KFC bacon chicken sandwich.
Subway's got one too, like a chicken bacon
the,
ranch.
The Atkins diet sandwiches, like using bacon as bread in that.
Yeah. So what about like avocados? Definitely not a sweet. Would you put bacon with avocados or like guacamole?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like if you had bacon, like would you dip strips of bacon into guacamole?
Yeah. You're looking at me like you would think that was weird, but I'm like, yeah, that's basically.
Yeah, it might be really good.
Like I don't do it, like, because I'm more of like a soft bacon person, but it's funny because
I don't know where I'd go with that. Like how to make it, like what would be worse with bacon on it. And I'm not sure I can get there.
No, you can't. It's a philosophy question. It's funny, I'm in a philosophy class now, so whenever I'm in a class where I know like a little about something, I like bring it up like 1,000 times. Like, like your standard college kid like learns one thing. It's like the classic Good Will Hunting when he's in the bar and he's like, "Oh, you just spouted out a little bit of," I can't remember who he references in it, but
me neither.
Now, like that, I know that Socrates came first, Plato came second, and Aristotle came third. I feel like I'm a philosopher, and my two philosophies are that cheese and bacon are better on most everything besides sweets, or anything is better. This would be my philosophical take on it. Anything is better with bacon and cheese, except for sweets.
Yeah, I agree.
Hard to prove wrong.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to argue it. There's things that, like I said, pizza. I don't need bacon on my pizza. Right? I don't need it.
Yeah.
I actually think the texture of that bothers me. But I understand your argument where it's okay. Like everything's better with it.
It enhances it. All right. Should we get into this show?
Yeah, I suppose. I'll jump off with my unders for the week. So I realized something about myself, and this happened tonight. When I'm not dieting, sandwiches are just a way for me to eat more whipped dressing, like Miracle Whip or whatever. I'm not like a huge mayo guy. Miracle Whip is definitely the way to go. Tangier, better, tastier. It's good. I know that is kind of a division line between people as well, but the only reason like I eat sandwiches is to eat like Miracle Whip or like a sauce, like honey mustard or some like sauce of some sort. That's the taste I'm looking for in those sandwiches. It's not the meat or the bread. It's so that I can, like, you can't just spoonful yourself full of mayo. That's fucking weird. But if you put a shitload on a sandwich, it's okay.
Could you eat a spoonful of mayo and would it be enjoyable?
Yes.
Oh, no, man. I couldn't do that. So yeah, that's kind of weird. I heard a story about a guy dipping his fries in butter. Thought that was the oddest shit ever. Not like butter.
Did you try it?
Like melted butter? It was like a stick of butter. Like I'm sure it's good. Like I didn't disagree with it, but I thought it was odd. But then they probably
I agree.
think it's odd that I dip in ranch. That's getting worldwide though. That's like I brought it to Brazil. Brazil is already going crazy about dipping some fries in ranch. But yeah, mayo though. I'm cool with it on a sandwich, but it's definitely not the reason I ate a sandwich.
For me, it's almost like 100%. Like why I'm eating the sandwich. And I noticed that today because like I go way overboard on the mayo and like the taste I'm looking for is the mayo.
So yeah, I think you got like some validity. I think just I have a different sauce that I go with. Like when I go to Subway, I usually get my sandwich with the like Southwest Chipotle
Oh yeah.
type sauce. And that makes my sandwich so much better. And I always just say, just a little. Like I'll order my whole sandwich and then I'll be like, just a little Chipotle Southwest. And like if they like just dump it on, makes me smile. I'm like, yes. They knew I was bluffing.
So
They knew I
So
was
what-
kidding.
so why do you just say just a little if you want them to dump it on? Like you could just say, just give it to me. Like
Because I
like
think
why not
I
send
think you
it?
go to Subway because you want to like be healthier. So I think I have like I'm pretty real with myself. Like most of the time, is like I can be me for the most part. But for some reason, with like eating, like I like to make it seem like I eat healthier. Like if I'm gonna
Okay.
eat shitty food, I usually eat shitty food in my car. Like I don't eat shitty food in front. Yeah, it's just like a self-conscious thing, I guess. So, but no, I don't know if I think of that when I'm eating the sandwich. Like I think I kind of want to be healthy, but then I think when they put it on, I'm like, it's not my fault anymore. It's their fault. They chose for me to be unhealthier than I wanted to be. So I
Yeah,
can
you
blame it on
wanted
somebody.
just a little.
Yeah, I
And just
wanted
because you're
it.
happy that it's more on there, that doesn't mean you wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's someone else's fault, and then I'm being a nice person by not being like, oh, that's too much. Like, make
Yeah,
me a
like
new
redo it.
sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a good person, Pat. Good job.
Yeah.
But like that disappointed me that I realized this today. That like that's my purpose for eating. And so like peanut butter sandwiches, right? So peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. My whole purpose of eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is to load that thing with strawberry jam. Like as much as I can without it like every time I take a bite, it like flops onto my plate. Like the goal is to get as much strawberry jam in there as possible. Don't need any peanut butter. But I make the sandwich so that I don't look like a crazy person just spooning it up, like eating strawberry jam out of the jar, which definitely can do, have done, will do again eventually, maybe this weekend.
Yeah, man. I don't got those hankerings that you do for jam and jelly and stuff. I guess I get it to a point. Like I'm trying to relate it to like something in mind, but I don't got you. I won't make it about me. I do that too much. But yes, I like where you're going with that. But I do think it's fucking disgusting, man. You can eat mayo plain. And the jam thing seems more normal to me because I know I'm the odd one out that I
Well, and
don't
it's a
really
sweet.
like strawberries and jam.
And it's a sweet too. You're right. It's like it's just like sugar laden strawberries, basically is what it is. And so like that's different than eating mayo, like a spoonful of mayo, which
Ugh.
Anyway, so that like that's one under is that like I realized that basically like if I just let myself eat the way I wanted, I'd be 280 pounds or something like that and just a slob. Right. Like I would do whatever if like I didn't have any self-discipline. I would just eat whatever and I wouldn't be able to control it at all.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what my weight would top off at, but like, if I did what I wanted to do all the time, it wouldn't be good.
No, yeah. So I've been there where I did do what I wanted to all the time and it was trending in the absolute wrong direction. Anyway, and then so I don't want to say Monday night. So I helped my dad do some drywall, right? And he drops off my drywall knives in my bucket and he had some paint left over and he just left that at my house too. Right. And so he left it all inside my house. I'm going to take it out to my shed, taking all my stuff out. I got this quart of paint. I'm trying to carry like two or three things at once. And like, I just drop it and I don't even like react because I don't think anything's going to happen. So I drop this can of paint and then it's all over my rug. It gets all over my, the door to like go outside, which is like a slightly different room than our house. Like, so I put this little mud room on our house and I dumped this quart of paint in there, just covers our rug and then covers the door. Then I open the door, take the large rug out, and we have 3 rugs in there, and it gets on the next rug over too. So then I have to spend like the next, I don't know, 30 minutes outside trying to hose off this rug and trying to like get the majority of the paint out. And I got close, but it still stained. And my hands were like frozen for the whole night. It just ended up turning like a night that was going to be just fine into a pretty shitty day.
That is awful. But sometimes I get lost in these. So like these, like it was actually like rugs that you use in a room in your house, because you got written a mud room, and I don't fully understand what a mud room is.
So like this is like our mud room is where we keep all our shoes, all our jackets, like our backpacks.
Okay, so like a porch kind of.
Yeah, so so I enclosed it though, right? So it's enclosed. It has a door. It doesn't have any heat in it, right?
Yeah,
so
it's an enclosed porch. Okay, I didn't realize that was called a mud room.
So I think that's what we call it in our house. A lot of mud rooms have like washers and then like water sources, and are like in a house that aren't, and it's not a porch, but ours is just like used to be a porch, and I enclosed it.
Yeah, that was our laundry room, was like a porch. I don't know, but we had laundry room, and then it was not heated. I think we had some source of heat getting out there, but when I seen mud room like written on the thing, like I thought you had like a wheel, like where you like made pottery and shit. Like I was like, damn, I did not realize like Mike and his wife got into like pottery and shit.
No. So I think like the idea of a mud room is that you can get rid of like your muddy shit while you're coming into the house.
Yeah, it makes sense to me in that. But I think like if you Googled what a mud room is, I feel like it's a place you do pottery.
Could be.
We'll do it quick. You keep going with yours. I'll tell you what the Google definition of a mud room is here in a second.
Anyway, I dumped out this entire can of paint. Dropped it. Cap fell right off like immediately, and then ended up having like a relatively like shitty evening because I'm cleaning up this paint the entire fucking time. And then every time I'm trying to clean it up and like wipe it off, it's just spreading, right? Because you can't like white paint up, because when you white paint, fucking spreads over fucking everything. So it was just a mess. But it was, I mean, everything ended up being fine. I'm probably gonna have to buy a new rug here, and then I'll put that off for 4 years. But it's
your mud room. It's where your muddy boots go. But yeah, no, you were 100% right. So an American term of mud room is traditionally a home's casual secondary entrance and dedicated space to remove, and then it's got in quotations, muddy boots, coats, and wet. And I didn't click on it. That's it. It just stops in wet. I would say probably says wet clothing.
Panties, something like that.
Yeah. Woo. All right. We get home, baby. Take them off. Let's go.
Sorry.
Rip those undies off.
Yeah, that's what it's there for. That's what a mudroom's for.
I like it.
Anyway, my over for the week is like same as my over for every week. But we went out skiing on Sunday before the Super Bowl. We went to Cascade, which is right on the interstate between the Dells and Madison, right? So it's the one right off the interstate.
Off the interstate,
yeah, you've seen it 100 times if you ever drive to Madison. And they have a super nice hill. Their hill was really good, and then it was warm, so it was like I think I took my sweatshirt off and just had like a regular coat on, right? I have this shitty, pretty thin Packer coat that I just layer up underneath. And I just had that on for the day. And it was perfect. So it's like a shell, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's super nice when you can do like some semi like cold weather stuff and like just very light clothes, like jeans and like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So
I like
that
it.
was a pretty good day. And then we got home for the Super Bowl, watched the whole Super Bowl. So
Sounds like a great weekend. All right, are we ready to roll into mine here?
yep.
The more important part. Just kidding. I always feel like it is. Whenever we listen back to the episodes, I'm like, oh, I interrupt Mike so much, and he never
No,
interrupts
you're
me.
all good. I think
But
that asking questions and like putting your input in, that's a big piece of what we're doing here.
yeah, we'll see. But I take it over a little bit too much. So what I have for my unders are pretty basic as well. So Mike and I, and we're gonna get into the one. So I lost the Super Bowl bet, which in turns means I lost the big bet, which means I have to run a 10K in a shirt that Mike picks. And then at the end of it, I have to do a shoey and smoke 3 cigarettes. We'll get into that stuff more. But anyways, the reason why I made it like such an under is because I was dead to rights. I played the like perfect Wisconsin football season. Is maybe I started hot. I can't remember how it started. But anyways, I got to the points. It was kind of like the Packers season this year, actually. Like where I was dead to rights. Like I was about to fold like halfway into the season. Mike had like such a big lead.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike had like such a big lead on me. Maka just come charging back. I think I was like positive money in maybe the last like 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Maybe let's say like 5 of 7 weeks. I was positive, made a pushback, and then I was winning the bet at halftime. Pretty confident that I had won the bet, and I lost the bet. So that was an under. So I had to find a 10K. But like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. Other under I got is I have to build a chair, which I don't think is going to be that hard, but I just don't like doing it. So gotta rip it out of the box, put it together. But that leads directly into an over. I'm going to have a new chair. So my chair right now, I don't see too much wrong with it, but my wife thought I deserved a comfier chair, so she ordered me a comfier chair. And now I got to put the comfy chair together to have the comfy chair. So I'm going to have a more comfortable chair. And she's usually right when it comes to these things. And then I'll sit in a new chair and I'm like, damn, I really did need a new chair. So pretty high highs there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that that's pretty good that have it like get a brand new chair. I've had probably the chair that's in my office at work has probably been there since they opened the facility. And it used to probably be like a patient chair, and like they're like, all right, staff can have this one now. We'll get new chairs for patients first. And so
yeah,
it's just like a shitty chair. We're at like McCoy. I feel like they had like this big like standard, like they didn't want people getting carpal tunnel and they wanted you all set up absolutely correctly. So they were buying like everybody new chairs when I left. And the next 2 places of that did not give 2 fucks what you had for a chair. Not at all. Like,
yeah, I'm just not that particular of a person, like where I don't like, maybe if I have like a new chair, it will make my life better, but I don't think I would realize it until I had a new chair. Yeah, I'm just pretty simple, like go with the flow. I could be using the chair I'm sitting in forever and it wouldn't bug me that much. Even though I put together my wife's chair about a year ago now, or whenever we moved into this place, and her chair is excellent. I've done a couple shows in her chair, and I'm like, okay, this is right, and it can like recline and stuff. But anyways, I'm spending too much time on a chair, so I'm just gonna hit them quick. So got out and hit some golf balls Sunday. That was nice, a nice Florida treat I took advantage of. And then the Super Bowl party that I went to was really fun. We had a lot of good food. So it was good to go on Sunday. And I guess I just haven't really done anything for a Super Bowl in a long time, probably since I've left Wisconsin. Like I've definitely watched a couple Super Bowls just sitting in a hotel over the past few years. So it was nice to actually be back in an environment watching it.
So outside of my in-laws, I don't think I've watched many Super Bowls in a party setting.
Yeah, it got to the point where it's like overrated, and now it's kind of came back to like, I knew it was going to be a good Super Bowl. I think it was like the Packers. There's no way I was going to somebody else's house for it. Like I'd want to be in control of what's going on, unless I knew it was like a Packer fan and the game took precedence. Like here, I was kind of like, yes, I really want to watch this game. The guy's house we were going over to also really wanted to watch the game. So I knew it would be like taken care of, and he's very hospitable. So like I also knew like that all the ambiance around it was going to be good. Like we had like drinks leading up to the game, music playing, shooting the shit. We had a dart board that we could have played if we wanted to, but we ended up not doing that. But yeah, it was just fun. Yeah, and then had a couple more friends over there. Good time, good Super Bowl. So my week is mostly filled with overs.
Nice.
All right, you ready to roll into the Super Bowl picks and what determined my fate? All right.
Yeah, for sure.
You go for it. You lead.
All right. So we did a few prop bets. We did the basically the overall winner. What was the line on it? 2.5 we had? 2?
Yeah, by the end of it. It was 2.5. I think we got it written down.
Yeah.
1.5.
We got it in at 1.5. So it didn't really matter who you picked for the most part. I mean, unless it's a 1-point game. And then we got into, so the bing bongs are things that we gamble on all year. We bet on every game, and our outcome came to this. We did 100 bing bongs on all the prop bets, and then there was plus money on the anytime touchdown scores, whatever. I think we used FanDuel, had on them, and then whatever.
It's our first,
and then 500 on the game, right? So, basically our first one was the kickoff, whether that was going to be returned or going to be a touchback, and Pat's grinning like a possum eating sawbriars because he has 2 years in a row said the return line shouldn't be as high as it is, and it's going to be a touchback. And 2 years in a row, he's been right.
I think it's more satisfying that how wrong you always are. Like you're like, Pat McAfee told me this. He runs a betting site and he doesn't want any extra money on one side or the other.
He does run he doesn't run a betting site. He bets on FanDuel. He's sponsored by FanDuel. I assume that he wants to, I assume when he tells me he wants to take most of FanDuel's money that he's being honest. But
yeah, no, that gets into like a deep wormhole. I don't think he knows. Like, I don't think FanDuel's like, hey, try to get a bunch of money on the kick's going to be returned. So when the touchback hits, we're going to kick you a percentage.
So I think that he's looking at it a little bit differently too, because he kicked off from the 25 and now they kick off from the 32.
Yeah.
Which definitely changes things.
I can't remember if he kicked it deep. I'm pretty sure he kicked it into 5 yards deep in the end zone. So
he kicked it. So the initial kickoff was to the, I guess the left or the top of the screen when I was watching it. And so the guy would have had to do something kind of spectacular, but it did land in the end zone to actually make the catch. You know what I mean? Because you're standing in the middle of the field, so you got to make like a 20-yard run to catch the ball. Maybe not quite that far, maybe 15, but you got to make a fairly significant run to go catch the ball, and then you got to start trying to move forward, which would have been challenging, I think.
So yeah, it was just like a good kickoff for a touchback. Where I felt like 2 years ago, the guy was just like, no.
Yeah, I'm just
like,
not going to touch it.
Yeah, like, I could catch this and run it back, but I'm just going to let it go over my head.
Yeah, this one I think.
I don't love that they don't have to like down the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were growing up, you needed to like catch it and kneel it. Like,
are you sure?
Or fair catch it. Yeah. Like it wasn't like if the ball hit the end zone, it was a dead ball. Or maybe it was, but like that's not like how I remember it. Like, so say nowadays, if it kicks it, it goes over the guy's head, it bounces in the end zone, but it doesn't go out of the back of the end zone. Like the ball's dead. Like it hit the end zone.
Right.
It's dead.
And it shouldn't be, because in theory, the defense can recover that ball as long as it goes past 10 yards.
And I think they used to be able to, but like it is kind of like a safety thing. It's like, I guess now that I'm like talking it over in my head, it kind of makes sense, because like you just gonna have like some stupid play happen because someone's like, that ball might be live after it hits the end zone. I don't know. I think
I get
him down.
I think you're right. I would like that better. At least it would make them catch the ball, right? Because you can't guarantee it's going to go out the back of the end zone. You can guarantee it's going to hit in the end zone, but you can't guarantee it's going to go out the back. And then kickers would do more crazy stuff, like try to get it to bounce back into play. Right. So I feel like punters have gotten way better about being able to like kill their kicks in some way. Right. I can't guarantee that that's accurate, but it feels that way. That it used to be like if a punt hit the ground, it just bounced like crazy towards the end zone. And now it feels like they die pretty consistently.
I feel like it was more random before. Like you didn't know whether once the ball was going to, I still feel like it's like pretty random. Like the biggest philosophy change I've seen in punting is, you remember the coffin corner? That was like such a big thing when we were growing up. Like it was always like try to kick the ball at an angle out of bounds.
At the
like
1 yard line or something like that. Yeah.
But now it's just like kick it high and like
they don't even like
the 5.
They don't even shoot for the sidelines, even when they know they're going to put it inside the 5.
Yeah, very rare. Yeah.
Right. All right. Our next up prop bet was the coin toss. Basically just straight up heads versus tails. I went with tails because tails never fails, and Pat went with heads. Tails hit on that. I don't remember who did the coin toss or whatever. I don't know who was out there. Do you remember? Doesn't matter. It was tails. There's no analysis to this. It's a 50-50 shot. It's always a 50-50 shot.
I feel like it was one of Pat Tillman's graduates.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. Or the lady who runs the Pat Tillman Fund. But anyways, yeah. No analysis on that. I think the coin flipped less than a half a spin more than it should have.
Yep, it did. And so it's all that lady's fault because she didn't flip it correctly. Some just straight bullshit, right? Anyway, the first play of the game, passive versus run. I think that this could pretty easily change if Kansas City gets the ball first instead of the Eagles getting the ball first. But
yeah, I mean, all these bets that we're saying that we're going to be throwing at you are a crapshoot, but I think you're 100% right. I think there's a way better chance that it's a pass off the bat if you get Patrick Mahomes that's been there, done that in a Super Bowl. Whereas you got a young quarterback like Hurts, like it's just like courtesy almost if you're a coach. Like, hey, just get a feel, like hand the ball off this time. See what See
what happens. If he gets 7 yards, then everything becomes easy here, right?
Yeah.
I I went with pass. Pat went with run. The first play of the game was a run. Like I said, I think Kansas City might have passed the ball. And probably, so this game was an anomaly with passing versus running for the Eagles, but I would say for the most part, 75% of the Eagles plays are probably runs.
Yeah.
So this is a good one to like live bet after the coin toss. Who's going to get the ball? Then make your analysis on it, whether it's a pass or a run.
Yeah. I wonder if that line swings pretty quick, but whatever. I didn't.
It probably does, right?
Yeah.
Which team scores first? We both were on Kansas City on this. I don't know if Pat thought that there was a good possibility that like Philly gets the ball and doesn't score right away, but
I'll tell you what.
I kind of did have that thought.
He didn't think. He just
didn't think. Just
yeah. It was just a zag. It was a zag on my opinions.
Yeah. So
maybe made it out.
Yeah. So for me, I just assumed that Philadelphia would flame out on their first possession. Nerves might get them, right? And so
yeah,
I thought Kansas City would have a better opportunity to score right away. Eagles got the ball first. Eagles scored first, scored a touchdown right off the jump. Really looked good in their first drive. Looked like they were going to dominate offensively and kind of did, right? First turnover, we fumble versus interception. If it was going to be, what was the other one that maybe this isn't the one. Maybe it's a different bet.
No, you're right. It was just going to be a push.
Or no turnover, right?
Yeah, push if there was no turnover.
And we both took interception on that. But Nick Bolton crushed it looked like Jalen Hurts just kind of threw the ball to the ground and Nick Bolton scoops it up and takes it to the house. Yeah.
It was a weird fumble. Like it was more of not like a defensively forced. It was more of like a offensive error of a fumble.
Yep. So I think if Hurts never switches hands with that ball, I guess it could get knocked out by a helmet or whatever. But he's trying to switch hands and he just drops it when he's switching arms to carry the ball in. And he was trying to protect it. That was the goal of moving it. First offensive score, what either touchdown or field goal. I guess this could have been like a non-score as well, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody scores in the whole game. Somebody's got to score.
Well, it could have been a safety.
Yeah, but it's offensive score, so we're good there.
Okay.
Right. So
we did cover our ass.
And we both took TD on that. I think we both thought these were pretty powerful offenses. I know I did.
Yeah.
And pretty good in the red zone. Next up, we had anytime touchdown scorer. I took, now I can't, Isaiah Pacheco at plus 145, and he hit second touchdown of the game for the Chiefs, I believe.
Yep, you nailed it.
And then Pat took McKinnon, who stopped at the 1 yard line with a minute to go and just kind of hosed Pat on this.
Yeah, what a smart play. I think he did have one more too, like where it was very realistic that he could have got a touchdown where he got stopped just short. I think he had like two times. One where he stopped on purpose on the one, and then one where he might have got stopped at like the 2 or something.
Okay, yeah. And I think it was a good play, and it was heady. It was good football.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
I'm interested to know if it would have mattered. I don't blame him though either. I mean, it's very smart to do.
Yeah, no, it probably more than likely wouldn't have mattered. But if it did matter, he made sure that it was like, there was no chance for it to matter.
Yeah.
I think it increases
it was a good play.
Yeah, it increases the Eagles' chance of winning that game by like 5%, which is pretty big. Yeah.
Yep. Total score being even or odd. Pat hits with this one being odd. It was score was 38-35, which puts it at 73 for the game. I went with even. I think on that one, like it had to be like one chooses one and the other chooses another. I didn't have a good like reason I chose even. You have a good reason you chose odd? Can't imagine you did.
No, I didn't have a good reason to pick any of these things, Mike.
Oh, come on.
Well,
Super Bowl.
very little. The touchdown thing, I think, was thought out.
Yeah. So Super Bowl MVP, QB versus non-QB. I think this is probably like the lock of the century to some extent. I don't know that even if Nick Bolton picks up that second fumble, if he's the MVP of that game. And he should be, right? You score 2 touchdowns on defense, and you should have got a MVP, but I don't think he could have.
Do you remember who the Super Bowl MVP was when it was the Bucks and the Raiders? Was it Dexter Jackson? I feel like he had a pick 6 and another pick, and might have gotten.
I do not. So I mean, historically they've had other guys, but I don't feel like they've had other guys in kind of a long time, right?
Yeah, Packers was Desmond Howard back in the day.
So the Cowboys, 97. There was a guy from the Cowboys, and I can't remember which Super Bowl it was from, but he had 2 picks in a Super Bowl and he won it. Like I can see that when the Steelers wanted it, they might have given it to Bettis.
Yeah,
it could have been things like that.
Yeah, I bet your running backs used to be a better bet.
Yeah,
like before 2005, probably.
Yeah, I think that like it did matter what kind of game you had, and not all like so. They gave it to Eli Manning, right?
Yeah,
2 times,
Dexter
and probably
Jackson,
both times.
Dexter Jackson did win that. That was a nice pull by me.
That was a great pull. I wouldn't have ever crossed my mind, I don't think. Anyway, I think that's kind of the lock. Like if you take a non-QB to get it, it should be plus 800.
Yeah.
Something like that. It should be a lot. Next up is the over-under 50.5. Like we said, it was 73 total points. The over definitely hit. I took the over. Pat took the under.
I have no clue why. Yeah, that was bad pick by me. I think it hit like in the first half.
Yeah, what was it? 24-14 in the first half. So we're sitting at 42 right there. Yeah. And I don't know. Players and media guys are saying that the grass was really shitty, which it probably wasn't great, but like football's played on like mediocre grass all the time.
Yeah.
Even at the NFL level. And so I don't see why it was such an issue, but apparently it was an issue. So, and then we got the actual game, Chiefs at Eagles. Eagles were -1.5. This was for 500 bing bongs. I took the Chiefs and won. Pat took the Eagles and lost. And now he gets to drink the Chewy sauce.
Hell yeah. I'm kind of excited to try it now. So anyways, summing it up though. So Mike crushed it, won $495 on the Super Bowl. I lost $600 on the Super Bowl. Mike finishes this season. I thought for sure after like seeing all the stuff you were going to finish in the positive, but you're -195 on the season. So decent season. You bet every single game of the year. You only end up losing 200 bing bongs.
Yeah, I'd be able to deal with that. I wouldn't. I mean, so like, I'd still not be super happy about that. But that's all juice.
Yeah,
it's probably really less than that, right? So I was above 50%.
Yeah. If we had your record, it was probably quite a bit above 50%, and then I was -1350 on the season, where that's probably right around 500. Actually, I don't know. We would have to do the math on that. I was probably a little bit below 500 season.
Do you know like roughly how many games are in a season?
Not really. 17 times 32.
No, because Like all those games are played against somebody.
17 times 16. 272.
That sounds about right. So that's at least 2,720 in juice.
Yeah.
Right. But you don't lose juice in every game because, right?
We
Or
do.
am I wrong about that?
We lose. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we lose juice in every game we lose. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you figure this out. We'd have to like go back and do it all. I was thinking like you could just figure it out from that, but I don't think you can. So 50% would be, so what I say, 2,720. So 50% of that would be 800, somewhere in there, 800 and something, 60.
it'd be 1360, wouldn't it? It'd be half of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just lost all your juice. You were probably right about at 50%.
Yeah.
And I was 53%. And you got to probably be at 60.
Yep. All right. Yeah, that's all we got. I mean, it was a great Super Bowl. I was pretty drunk. I figured coming into the show that everybody's probably heard every angle of the Super Bowl so far. I don't know if you got any angles that you really wanted to bring up, but I just thought it was a good game. Obviously, there was that pass interference call at the end that was a little bit questionable. I mean, it was pass interference, but didn't seem like they were calling it all game. But I don't know. The Eagles didn't seem too mad about it, like the actual players. And
so, like I've heard a lot of people say you can't make that call in that spot. I think that like that's the only spot you have to make that call, right? In the other part of the game, like you never have to make that call, right? Like, so it's like, all right, we're going to let him play today, like whatever. I think when the game comes to the line, if there's a guy that, so, and this is going to be looked at kind of weird, right? Like that it's not this, but if a guy is cheating, which a holding penalty, that's cheating. That's why it's a penalty, is because it's cheating inside the game. If a guy is cheating in the most like pinnacle part of the game, that's when you have to call the penalty, not like let him play, right? So like if a guy is trying to skirt the rules at the end, that's exactly when you got to make the call, not make the call.
yeah, I don't fully agree with that sentiment. Like, I think it like comes to a point of places just make a play. But like I said, like I mean, it was a holding call. Like if it was like completely awful and it wasn't called, or if it was, like nothing was going on and it was called, I think that's shitty. But it was a callable call and he made the call, and it is what it is. Like it did kind of put the clamps on, having an all-time finish. Like it just took like all the air out of the Eagles. And they were like, all right, well, instead of the Eagles having a minute with change to score, they're going to have 15 seconds. So it did kind of, make the game a little less aesthetically pleasing, I guess.
Yeah. So the other point I have about that holding call is that that's a huge holding call, right? So they ran that play 2 times for touchdowns in the same space. I think Kadarius Toney got one, and Pacheco might have got the other one, where they're like wide open, and they just dump it to him and they jog in. And that's the exact same play. And the reason that Bradbury's even near Smith-Schuster is because he makes that hold, right? So he makes that hold as Juju's coming out of the cut, which makes it so Juju can't run to the sideline as effectively, and Bradbury can catch him, right? So we all know that like you grab somebody, like they propel you, or when you grab someone, you get propelled like towards them. and they come back towards you. And so the only reason he's anywhere near Juju is because he makes that hold. And so I actually think that it's important for the official to make that call there. And without that call, right, the game, I think Kansas City just is in the other boat, right? Especially if the Eagles come down and score a touchdown after they just got a field goal, which is more than likely all they would have gotten. I think it would have been 3rd and like 12 or something, right?
Yeah.
Would that have put it into 4th down? I'm not sure if it was.
No, I think it was 3rd. It would have made it 3rd down. So they would have had another shot at it. Like,
you're right. And so like I'm on like the exact opposite of the like general media that like you got to let them play at that situation. I don't think you do. I think that that's the most important place for an official to make a good call. And I don't think anybody's arguing that it's a bad call. It's just they thought if you're going to let them play early in the game, you should let them play late in the game. And I don't agree with that.
And when we did our Monday show, like my Super Bowl haziness of being at a Super Bowl party, I was like, there was like no calls in that game, but there was more than you think. Like I remember that big get the guy to jump off sides call, and that not really a call, but like it just happened. So
yep.
They got him jump.
So the argument there would be that you wouldn't call an offsides, right? Like if you say you don't call a pass interference, you wouldn't call an offsides because it's too important of a play to make a call that might not affect the play, which is silly, right?
And I get your logic, and I think you definitely looked into it more than I have, like where I was like, I don't know how much that call affects the game. And like I said, I didn't look into it that much, but it was just a bummer. Like it was what it was. Like the call was right, and it was a bummer. Like for anybody but Chiefs fans, I would say. Or like, I mean, if you had money on the Chiefs, you were probably pretty happy with that call.
But you're a Chiefs fan in that moment, right? If you have money on the Chiefs, you're a Chiefs fan.
Yeah. So I guess probably like 50% of people were happy, 50% of people were sad. Like I just wanted to see Hurts and the Eagles have a chance to go down and score, and they I mean, so really get that opportunity.
Right. I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't know. I feel like I don't like that sentiment. Like, oh, like they scored, they should have another opportunity. Right. So like the Jerick McKinnon play is perfect because that's what gave him the nod an opportunity. Is that they made smart headsy football plays after that penalty.
Yeah. And I think everyone can, like, for the most part, agree. Like the Chiefs just looked like the better team on that day. I mean, they looked
especially in the second half.
Yeah.
Especially in the second half.
And they looked like the two best teams going at it. And it looked like the Chiefs were the better of the two teams. And that's who won the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game. Enjoyable Super Bowl to watch.
Do you want me to Google some crap about the Daytona 500 real quick, or should we just mention that the Daytona 500 is coming up on Sunday?
It's coming up on Sunday. From everybody that I've talked to about NASCAR stuff, is that this is not a race that you can really predict a winner, which means Martin Truex Jr. is going to win it. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Prediction made here.
Let's just see what we got for a couple of the favorites going into this week. So
I think the favorite is Chase Elliott, if I am not mistaken.
Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott are both plus 1,000. So I mean that's pretty like high odds to pick a winner. I guess not in a sport like NASCAR.
Well, so you could pick 10 guys at that, or 9 guys at that, right, and still make money.
Yeah. So Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott are plus 1,000. Next one's Denny Hamlin at plus 1,100. Our boy, who you should bet the mortgage on, is plus 2,000.
So if you got, I mean, roll your 401ks out of there wherever they go. Take the penalties. Bet it on Martin Truex Jr. MTJ.
And then put $10 on BJ McLeod. His first name is BJ, and he is plus.
He might get a best job for the Daytona 500 too.
Yeah, he's plus 75,000. So 100. That's $100 and then it's 75,000. That's crazy.
Wait, he's plus 75,000 or 7,500?
75,000. There's two guys that are plus
What?
75,000.
This is like, that's breaking my brain. Like, why would you like? I don't. It's $1 to win 7,500. No, $1 to win $750.
Yeah.
You put $1 on him. I think you can risk that. There's only 40 guys in the field.
Yeah.
Not even probably. It's probably like 37. Like it's usually like 36, 37.
Yes.
Maybe Daytona's got all 40.
Because there's three guys. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Like maybe they're not racing that day for sure. So you gotta like you're kind of like I don't know if that's a thing.
That'd be pretty shady on the part of the NASCAR like or the sports books people to just put guys that aren't racing. But you can probably get the field, right? And so even you get those 37 guys. So let's say it's 40. You can take a quarter of the field, just under a quarter of the field, that 9 guys to win, and you can still win money if everybody is plus 1,000 or greater.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's like right around 40 guys. I was counting.
As long as one of those guys hits, one of those 9 guys hits for the win, you make money.
Do it up. Easy money in NASCAR these days.
No, I don't know that that's accurate. Like, I'm just saying, like, maybe it's like impossible to figure out too. But if one of those 9 guys hits, you make money, right? Like, as long as you put the same amount on them.
Yeah, I think I'd put $1 on the bottom 10 guys.
And so, yeah, and then if you put dollars on the bottom 10 guys, right, and you win 750, and like,
yeah,
you lose a little bit, but you're hedging pretty good.
Easy
$2 and you win money.
Easy money.
So the bottom 10 guys get $2 a piece. Top 10 guys get $100 a piece. And all you got to do is pray for that the middle 20 don't screw you over.
That's exactly what would happen in that situation. All right.
Yeah,
probably. That's our NASCAR coverage for the week. So we are gonna get into barking about the Bucks. So Bucks keep that heater rolling, going 2-0 since the last episode we recorded. They beat the Clippers 119-106, and then they beat the Celtics in a pretty epic battle that went into overtime, 131-125, and are currently on an 11-game winning streak, which I want to say is the longest. 12. Yeah, they just beat the Bulls tonight. So yeah, they're 3-0 since the last time we recorded. We got to do a little bit of work on the Bulls game, but maybe I'll pull that up quick and just see what the box score, because we were recording and kind of watching on the side for that one. Forgot where I was, but 12-0. I think that's their longest winning streak since starting the 2019 season, 18-0. And I just heard that somewhere this week where I think I'm right about that. But anyways, they are a game back of Boston. I want to say probably a half game. They were a game back when I wrote it. Now they're a half game back after they won that one. But we'll get into the Clippers game here real quick, and I'll try not to spend as much time as I did the past couple episodes, and we'll just highlight some of the key players in that one. So, in that one, Middleton didn't play. So I think they're still doing a bit of load management on Middleton with some of this stuff. But other than that, our boy Giannis is still scoring damn near 35 points a game. Brooke Lopez put up 22 points in that game. Holiday scored 19 points in that game. And Holiday's just been on a heater of all heaters. Pretty much since Giannis and Middleton were out and he needed to be that guy, he kind of stepped up. And we were talking about it on the show before, and I heard Shaq say Shaq said when he was out of the lineup, he thought it was nice sometimes to see what other guys could do that didn't get to rely on him. And it just seems like Holiday has either taken a step forward in the scoring department, or, the Bucks as a team are like, okay, he is that dude. Like, he can get the job done for us. And they just give him more opportunities to score those points. But good game in this, or in the Clippers game. Like I said, he put up 19 points there. Game flow, really. So the Bucks get outscored 22-27 in the first quarter, pick it back up in the second quarter, and outscore them 32-24. And then that trend continues. So close game out of halftime, then the Bucks take over at the end of the third and put them lights out in the fourth. So that's all I got for that game. As for the Celtics game, we had a couple guys coming back to Milwaukee that were out for revenge. So Malcolm Brogdon, for the Celtics, came off the bench. He did have 39 minutes off the bench, but he scored 26 points against his former team. So he was happy to be back home. I kind of do miss Malcolm Brogdon.
I thought he was a plus player when the Bucks had him.
Yeah, he just didn't miss threes. I mean, in this game, he was 2 for 6 from 3. But yeah, he was just a very smart player for the Bucks. But then we had Sam Hauser. So he played for Marquette. I want to say, did both the Hauser brothers transfer to Michigan State?
No. Only one transferred into Michigan State. I don't remember where the other one went.
Well, Sam.
But they split up.
Sam would be the other one. Oh, yeah. Sam went to Virginia. So.
Okay.
So, yeah, they did split up. Sam went to Virginia, but Hauser just hits an insane 3 at the end of the game to tie it up. I think there was 3 seconds on the clock. We get the ball into Middleton, and Middleton kind of gets not a great look, but it's a look that he can hit. Like, I wouldn't say it was a dumb shot by any means, but I mean, 3 seconds on the clock, you get the ball, and he had to take kind of like a contorted shot. Then overtime was great again. Like I said, Holiday just kept up his heater. I want to say in the fourth in OT, I need to find like a quarterly breakdown of how these points are coming, but it definitely so Holiday ends up with 40 points, and I want to say like over 20 of those points came in the fourth quarter and overtime. He was 8 for 12 from 3 and just crushing it. Gives a big steal at the end of the game as well to put it away. And I mean, it ends up being a 6-point game, but it really was closer than that. They have an inbound at the end of the game where Giannis is wide open under the hoop. He dunks it to put him up 6.
Yeah.
But like it was just a scrappy fight, and it's just gonna be a fun series to see. Like I don't know if I would say I hope Boston gets bounced before the Bucks have to see him in the playoffs, because I want to see this matchup. The one funny thing that I noticed And I'm gonna have to start paying attention to this more during Celtics games. I think we only do play them one more time again in the season. So Brook Lopez was 0 for 3 from the field with all 3-point shot attempts. So it was basically like, I don't know if he just gets a bad matchup in these games. He had 25 minutes. So obviously Brook Lopez is on the floor to do a lot more things than score points. But just comparing it to what I got up in the Clippers. So he had 32 minutes against the Clippers, 25 against the Celtics. So I don't know if they just have like a matchup where it's not favorable to play Brook Lopez, which seems feasible because, you know, they got like a decently stacked like 6'6" to like 6'10" lineup with Blake Griffin, who miraculously, I don't know if I would say miraculously, but he can shoot threes now. Like I was amazed how he was banging home threes. And I want to say I've heard earlier in the year that like he worked on his stroke in the offseason and he's hitting threes at like a decent clip. I'm clicking on his name right now to see what he's shooting from 3-point. So yeah, he's shooting 40% from 3 this year. And 50% in the last 10 games. So he added that dimension to his game. And then other guy that went off was Derek White. Yeah, the Celtics got a good team, but the Bucks got them. Helped that they were at home, I'm sure. And our top performers, Giannis, 36 points, as mentioned, Holiday with 40, and then Middleton with 16. Grayson Allen chipping in 13 there. But yeah, good game. 2 best teams in the East, maybe 2 best teams in the league square off. The Bucks walk away with it. I don't think we're not a strictly NBA podcast, but it seemed like both teams were full health as well. So
no, Tatum and Brown were both out for Celtics. They had 4 guys. Smart was out, Tatum was out, Brown was out, and there was somebody else. I don't remember the last one. There was 4 like starters out for the Celtics, and it still went into overtime.
I'm glad you caught that because I feel real dumb about that. I could have swore I seen Tatum playing in a game recently, but yes.
So he might have been
definitely not on the stat sheet.
So there's a real possibility that they just sat that night, right? So like a regular rest day for them, right? Say their ankle is turned or something and they don't play against the Bucks for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of like you don't want to show a team your full hand. But yeah, damn. No, I was way wrong about that.
And so I'm wondering about that because I feel like tonight the Bucks are facing Chicago and they got like 3 or 4 guys that are out, which I find to be like an odd situation that you don't want to, but I'm not sure why you would do that against good teams instead of bad teams, right? But maybe if you think you're going to make the playoffs either way, or you have to beat the bad teams in order to make the playoffs, you rest them against good teams. Like, is that like a strategy in the NBA?
I think so. I think you're right with that. I think you're right in both aspects of it. Is like the Celtics are kind of like, hey, let's not show them exactly what they're going to get when we see them. Whereas the Bulls are like, hey, we're going to fold early.
We'll fold this game instead of folding against the Pacers or something. Yeah, whoever it is. Yeah, and so it was just a weird thing that I noticed that 4 guys for Boston are out, like 4 starters, not even just 4 guys, 4 starters from Boston are out, and then like 3 or 4 guys from Chicago are out today too. seems weird.
Yeah, let's see what the Clippers brought to the table. So they had Paul George. And I don't know.
Did Kawhi play?
I don't know. No Leonard in the lineup. So, but I don't know what's going on with him right now either. So,
yeah, like there could be like actual significant injuries, right? And we just don't know.
Yeah,
that they're there.
That's our extent of the NBA. We pay attention to what the Bucks do, and I don't even notice when Tatum wasn't on the floor the whole game. But yeah,
because he's inconsequential. Doesn't matter.
I swear though, I watched the Celtics play probably the game before the Bucks, not the whole game, but I was like, damn, this Celtics team looks really good. Like,
yeah,
but the Bucks,
of course,
Bucks
are
team,
good.
Yeah, the Bucks team in this game, like some of the extra passers that they got out to Javon Carter, it seems like all the pieces, like I don't know why. I think maybe I just like Joe Ingles, but he just seems to make like smart plays to me.
So he's a veteran, right? So he's like a guy who's been in the league for a long time. You don't stay in the league if you're not a smart player when you're aged, especially if you can't like make explosive plays. I get that he's a shooter, but if you're not going to be able to make explosive plays, they're not going to keep you in the league. They'd rather. There's probably 100 shooters in college basketball that like get a corner shot, but if they make stupid plays and turn the ball over and do dumb stuff, they're never going to stay in the league.
Yeah. And he's found a way to stay in the league. All right, Mike, let's bark about the Badgers here.
All right. So
that was pretty well synced.
Yeah, better. Badgers have 2 games over the last week. They play Nebraska and they play Michigan. They lose to Nebraska 63-73 in overtime. They're up 15 plus points in that game.
I think 17.
Up to 17. So I heard like 4 different numbers. So I just put 15 plus because it was up there. I know. So, but they're up big. And usually if the Badgers get up big, they slow the game way down. The possessions are so low, teams just can't come back in games, right? Apparently not the case with this one. They must have gone cold at some point. I don't remember exactly when that happened. But anyway, the game gets tied up. Chucky Hepburn gets the ball with 20 plus seconds on the clock and just kind of rolls it down. I mean, right, takes up the whole shot clock and then does like a step back 3, misses it. Like things that he's been doing kind of consistently all year is just not really making a good shot right at the end of the game. Maybe in just the last 10 games, whatever it is. But
yeah, he had two pretty bad ones at the end of that one.
Yeah, but you can tell, and they called the timeout right before this, so they had a play called. It's not like he had to think of the play on the fly. That guard was yelling out the play, and everybody knew what was going on. They had a play called, and it might have been that Hepburn drives to the hole and then looks for somebody. I don't know what the deal is, but it appears that guard's kind of mad. Maybe in the replay, they cut to the bench of the Badgers, and all the Badgers just look really disappointed about what's going on. So I can't imagine that was the play call that they wanted to run. And I think the biggest thing that I see that isn't Bo Ryan-esque is that if Hepburn had done that on a Bo Ryan team, we might not have seen him for 3 weeks. Right? If he had done something like that, he might have sat the bench. Doesn't matter how talented he was. He might have sat on the bench for 2 or 3 games, like minimum.
Yeah, and
he rolled right out in overtime.
Yeah, no. And we might have had more depth back there, like where we could have maybe afforded to do that. But this team has like no depth.
So I will agree with that I've heard a couple times that Hepburn's really their only reliable point guard, right? And so I'll give him that. He's the only reliable point guard. I don't think Bo Ryan would have cared. I think he would have said, I'll figure out somebody else to bring the ball up. I don't care. Like if we turn it over 9 times, I'll take that guy out too. Right. I'll just take out everybody who turns the ball over and I'll be down to my last guy on the bench. But like, I'm going to like set a standard here that when you screw up and you don't do what I ask you to do, you're going to sit on the bench. Like that's just the way it goes. And I thought if I'm coaching that game and I drew up a play and like we tried to do something and my player basically said, nope, I'm going to do what I want to do here and I'm not going to worry about it, he for sure wouldn't have been playing the overtime. Right. So like if I'm going to lose with you on the bench. Right. So like, or if I'm going to win it, you're not going to be a part of it. I'm going to set an example. Like you won't get playing time if we're not operating the way I'd like the team to operate. Now, not what happened. I was a little surprised by that. He did have 19 points in that game, but he's 8 for 21 from the field with 3 3-pointers. That's like that percentage just isn't good enough. You know, that's like a 30% from the field, and it's not good enough. Like we need to be better than that. It's a little over that, right? It needs to be better. You can't take that volume of shots and not be making shots.
Yeah, and Wisconsin was 25 of 69 from the field, 9 of 31. So they shot 36 from the field, 36% from the field, and 29% from 3. And then they only, shoot 67% from the free throw line. It's just not a recipe to win games.
Right. And so like he has 0 free throw attempts or 0 free throws, 0 points from free throws anyways. I think he was zeros from the free throw line, which means he's not making contact when he goes down low. Like if he's driving the ball in, like he's not creating fouls there either, which doesn't help the team, I don't think. If you're going to take that many shots, we need you to be making more shots. So the Michigan game ended up being 64-59. Basically, it was close all the way through. Badgers got a little bit of lead in the second half and then just kind of hung on, which they couldn't do against Nebraska. But they don't score a field goal in like the final 10 minutes of the game. All free throws, 7 points they get in order to hold on to the win. And Essegian had 23 points against Michigan. He was 6 for 12 from the field. And then he had 1 3-pointer and 9 of 10 from the line. So that's the kind of scoring we need, is not like a volume shooter where we get points because we have a bunch of attempts, but we get points because we're having an efficient day. I guess if I'm giving out a best job of the week, it's going to go to Essegian. They're just he just feels like the best player on the floor when we're watching him. And I'd like to see the ball in his hands more and in Hepburn's hands a little bit less, right? So I'd like to see Chucky running the point and getting the ball to guys. Shoot, it's like a Max something. Kesmet. Is it Max Kesmet?
Yeah, Klesmet.
He feels like a pretty good player that we don't get the ball in his hands quite enough. Tyler Wall, maybe we learned to not rely on him so much in the last 10 games after he was out. And I think maybe put more on his shoulders again. Early in the season when we put basically the gains on his shoulders, we were rolling pretty good. And I think we could maybe lean on that again. And it wouldn't be so bad. Make him kind of have to be the man. Anyway, yeah. So I do think the Badgers are pretty poor this season. I guess if they could go on a little bit of a run here late, and maybe lose just to Purdue, if you can beat everybody but Purdue in the last 5 or 6 games, you might be able to sneak into the tournament. But they're not a team that I would be worried about making a run at a national championship or even a Sweet 16. Winning 2 games in the tournament would be stunning to me for a team like this. I think that they could realistically go on a little run. I don't think they can beat Purdue, but they can go on a little run and make it into the tournament. I don't think they can win in the tournament. I don't think when you're facing off against plus teams that are going to be able to win. I am going to give them a pass for this year. So last year they win the conference. Johnny Davis goes to the pros. I think if you have him as a junior presence in this team, you have him, Wall, Esijan, and Chucky, you're in really good shape. I think you're probably a team that is scary in the NCAA tournament. That you got a couple real shooters, and then you got a guy that can just kind of I wouldn't say that he's like a dominant college player, but he's a plus college player that teams have to look out for in Johnny Davis and could really wreck a game if you try to take everybody else away. If you just said, all right, if Johnny Davis beats us, then Johnny Davis beats us, he's going to beat you, right? That was what would happen. So if you can play good team basketball around Johnny Davis, everybody else teams would be in real trouble. And so with him going to the NBA, I'm going to give the Badgers a pass. I think this is what happens to North Carolina, is that they have a guy leave early that they don't expect to leave early. And then their team is kind of reeling for that leadership. And that's the first time I think that's happened to the Badgers in a really long time. I think even with a guy like Decker and Kaminsky, when those guys left, we expected them to leave. We didn't expect them to stick around. I think after Decker's freshman year, we didn't expect him to be a 4-year player.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I didn't.
I think it was a normal standard of him leaving that was okay, I get it. We're going to have to replace this guy before his senior year, where that's not what I think they thought after Johnny Davis's sophomore year or his freshman year.
Yeah, no. And like you said, so Burns is a sophomore, Esijan is a freshman. I'm trying to go through the list here. I think Crowell's a junior, Wall's a senior. So, I mean, they're going to have a lot of these guys back. Unless we're losing them to the transfer portal. So this might be the year where they regroup. But if you get the guys back like Hepburn, Esijan, Crowell, Plasmit, Jordan Davis, they might be able to do something.
And then you bring in another player that can do something.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll be okay. They'll figure it out, I think. I don't think that the Badgers are lost. I also don't think that you have to do what the football team did, because I don't think, and we've mentioned this a few times, maybe off air, that there's a real opportunity to bring in what I see in the football program as the best coach in college football that's available, right? Kirby Smart's not available. Nick Saban is not available. Dabo Swinney is not available. It's just not a thing that is actually you can go get them.
Yeah.
Ryan Day is not available, right? There's no way those guys are leaving the programs they're at. Fickle was available, and so is Jim Leonard. You have two real options that you can fill that spot with. That's why you can move on from Paul Chryst. And I don't know, maybe that guy is out there in college basketball. I have no real idea if that's accurate.
Yeah, no, I don't know who would be better than guard that. And I mean, someone probably could tell me, and sure, then I'd be like, okay, sure.
So if last year you go after Shaka Smart or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think he was at Texas, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah. All right. That wrapped up Barking with the Badgers, and we got to run through Hot in the Street fast, Mike. So we're going to play some, what do we call it? Pump it or dump it. So I'm going to read it. You pump it or dump it. Waste Management Open.
Pump it or dump it. I'm going to dump it. Scotty Scheffler won. It's done. I mean, it's a golf tournament. It's not one of the majors. Move on from it.
All right. You got ghost runners in the MLB.
So they're considering just allowing like a ghost runner apparently in Major League Baseball. Just a quick, probably clickbaity article, but I saw the thing. I was like, hey, that's interesting. They are making a couple of big changes in I shouldn't say big changes. Some changes in Major League Baseball. They're doing larger bases, 18-inch bases versus 14-inch bases, something like that. 16-inch versus 12-inch bases. It's something along those lines.
I knew they're bigger, but yeah.
It's supposed to speed up the game somehow, but I don't know. I'm not
probably
sure exactly
safer too. I'm cool with it.
It's a little bit safer, I think. And then they're putting a pitch clock in. I don't know how that'll work. They are also telling you can only throw over to first base twice, which I think base stealers are going to love. That it's going to be like they're going to make them throw over twice, and then they're going to take like 3 steps and just get a balk. And like,
yeah,
I think it'll work really nicely. You're more of a baseball guy, like connoisseur than I am, but like, how do you feel about that you can't throw over more than twice?
Yeah, I don't really give a shit because I think, I don't know, I've maybe seen one guy get picked off after the 3rd throw over. So I don't know.
Yeah, but if they have the potential to throw over is different than not having the potential to throw over.
Do you know if it's in between pitch or is it per batter?
I think,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. So I was hearing it from like a third hand. So I think it's like per batter.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a little off base, but the pitch clock thing, they've been doing in the minor league since I was in the Biloxi area. And I think that's fine if not necessary. Like, come on, let's go. Say it's in every sport besides baseball. Like, you got a shot clock in basketball.
Some way to speed it up, right?
Yeah, you got a play clock.
Play clock in football. Yeah.
All right. Corbin Burns arbitration. So Corbin Burns was asking for $10,750,000, went to arbitration, and now he's getting 10.01 million instead.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna pump this, and you and I are gonna maybe get it. This might be the biggest deal we have here in the hot in the streets, I think. This is the biggest clown move out of the Brewers in a long time, I think. And we've had a couple that are bad, right? So you trade an all-star closer for what, right? No idea.
Yeah.
But what you're doing here is saying that this guy's probably worth $15 million a year, honestly. And then you're telling him that he's the reason that they didn't make the playoffs is because of the way he played, which is ridiculous. Like, every Brewers team that I've ever seen, if you put a good product on the field, the fans will show up. The fans are going to buy their shit. Like, one, you've signed this stupid deal with Bally Sports that you don't make the games accessible to me, right? Myself, like, even if I have MLB Network, I can't watch the games because I'm inside the blackout area. Like, it does, like, I'd have no way to access Brewers baseball unless I buy cable and the sports package with that cable, right? So unless I'm spending like, I don't know, $95 to $100 a month, I can't access the Brewers television, which is something when I was in college, when my father-in-law did do that, and he still may. No, he doesn't. I don't think he does. When my father-in-law did do that, I watched baseball every night, right? So like, my wife and I would sit down and the game would be on, right? We might be doing something else, like, you know, putzing on our computers or something.
Yeah,
the game, yeah, something else, right? But like, the game would be on like every night. It was probably on 3 TVs in that house, right?
You
so like,
muffin, Mike.
I know, right? Just a player, super player, right? So not only have you made the product inaccessible, but now you're being cheap about the product too, where I don't remember like from 2008 to 2016 or whatever, that being the Brewers. And I feel like that's what they are recently.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were back in college eating all that juicy, wet, wet, trying to think of something that'd be juicy and wet. Watermelon and
Sure. Yeah.
watching the Brewers in the background. But yeah, no, the Brewers have kind of turned into like it's starting to feel like the plot of Major League that we're
Well,
watching.
good thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Euchre's around then, just a bit outside, right?
Yep, and those teams tend to make the playoffs, as we've seen in Major League.
Yeah, win pennants, man.
Yeah. That's one thing I didn't like about Major League. Did they ever show them like win the World Series or like it was just
not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was just like making the playoffs, but didn't show what they did after they made the playoffs. I want to say
I haven't watched it recently, so I'd have to rewatch it in order to see exactly what happened.
But yeah, clown move. It seems like something's wrong in the Brewers organization. As we talked about, sure, God, I want to say Hoffman.
Burns?
Wow, Mike. No, not Burns, but who we traded last year. I'm blanking hard.
Jesus Christ, White Hauser, not Hauser. Hader. Jesus.
Yeah. No, we're not in baseball mode yet.
Right.
As we've seen, he didn't play too well when he got to the Padres last year, but it did seem to be like detrimental to
it gutted the Brewers, right?
Yeah.
So it affected the way the Brewers played baseball.
Yeah. And yeah, it just was not good for the clubhouse. But we do have a fairly talented roster. I was talking to the Cubs expert that we might have to bring on, Craig, and he was saying the Cubs are loading up, so they're coming for us, and we're kind of shortchanging our best players. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
So, like, I feel like Wisconsin sports fans would support the Brewers excessively if you put a good product on the field. And so you like trying to like dime store the team isn't effective. Like, I think that it's not good for your market.
Yeah, it seems like something needs to change there. All right, but we do need to move on. So next we have Team Fluff whooped the living shit out of Team Rough in the Puppy Bowl. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much what I expected. Team Fluff is just loaded. That's the way that game's going to go every time. It's not the Eagles versus the Chiefs. This was just basically the Eagles versus the Texans, and that's just how it's going to go.
Yeah, Chewy gets the BJ in that game. 3 touchdowns.
Just a dog.
Chewy. Yeah.
He's just a human.
Yeah. And the last one we have that we'll try not to spend too much time on, but we always tend to when this guy's name comes up. So we have Brett Favre is suing Pat McAfee, Shannon Sharp, and some Mississippi lawyer. I tried to dig into this a little bit. Not lawyer. Someone in their government that he's suing. And the article was just too long. Didn't feel like reading it. I tried to exonerate my boy Brett, but just a bad look. To me, it seems like if you, maybe we shouldn't even be talking about this, but if you
allegedly do something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no. I'm saying if you sue people for defamation of character about something that, you probably had a little bit wrong doing. And
so is it correct that he did it, but he didn't? So his argument is that he doesn't know that he's doing it. Right. Like, so he took the money. We know he took the money. He just doesn't know that like he's taking it from the welfare fund. He knows he took money because he returned money.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate or statement? I'm not like that into it. And I listen to the guy he's suing every day. So might not like have an accurate representation of what's going on.
Yeah, no, we'll have to do a book report on this one because yeah, I don't know exactly what is going on. I think you're on the right track there. But yeah, I think I treat Brett Favre too much like a family member where I'm like, he probably didn't know.
So even if he doesn't know, like they're not saying anything that isn't true then, right? So like outside of the fact that they're saying that he's like a scumbag, right? But that's a personal opinion. Like I could say that about him, whether he does anything bad or not. That my personal opinion on Brett Favre is that he's a scumbag because he took Vicodin, right? I know he took Vicodin. It was reported in the news all over the fucking place. Like that's why he's a scumbag. Or he's a scumbag because he didn't teach Aaron Rodgers how to be a quarterback. Like I can call him a scumbag over lots of different shit. And that's kind of the stuff that they're saying is that like they're making jokes about how terrible of a human he is because he took welfare money. And so if he took welfare money, he's got no leg to stand on. And on top of that, like every time somebody from Pat McAfee's team says something, McAfee will step in and be like, allegedly he did this. He allegedly did this. Like, and I mean, maybe they've missed a few times, but it's not very often that he doesn't say allegedly.
Yeah. Well, because his whole thing was when he got drunk and jumped in a river or some shit. And it was allegedly, like, I'm pretty sure he had a t-shirt that said like allegedly, and it was like his mugshot or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. He like to this day won't say that he did any of that shit.
Yeah. But
their story is I did this. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of what we got for the show. So you want the PEDs?
No, we'll get to that one next time.
Yeah, we'll cut it. We'll wrap it up. We're running a little long. But as always, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. We love you guys. And thank you for your support, because even if you didn't support us, we're going to keep doing it, but we appreciate the support more than not being supported. So thank you for that.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys. We really do appreciate it. Pound the like button, the subscribe button,
slam on it. Just jam on it.
Slam that thing right on there.
Like your Mike watching a
Brewers game.
back in
all right. So anyway, we really do appreciate it. Download it on all your devices. Download it on all your people's devices. Listen to it on silent if you have to. And for all you suckers that are doubting the Brewers, the Badgers, the Bucks, or the Packers, you can eat